Welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Sciences, SOS, Certificate Program in Laboratory Techniques, CPLT, English, Revised. CLT 102 Laboratory Techniques in Biology. Block 1 Introduction to Biology Laboratory. Unit 1 Biology Laboratory and its Ancillaries. In Unit 1 of CLT 101 course, you have learnt about the design and essential requirements of a good laboratory. In this unit we will concentrate on the features and requirements specific to biology labs. Special features of physics and chemistry labs will be discussed in the respective courses. Undoubtedly, biology labs are remarkable and interesting places to visit even for a layman. The overall site of a biology lab is intriguing. There are a variety of animal and plant specimens, charts, displays, models of heart, lungs and brain and other vital organs, and often a full-size human skeleton. As students we look at a lab with a different perspective. We observe the features that interest us the most and the ones that cannot go unnoticed. We also take note of the things that our teachers point out to us. Unfortunately, we are in a hurry to complete the experiments and cannot afford to get completely involved in the lab even if we wish to. There is always the pressure of studying for the theory component and we have to do a tight time budgeting for getting good marks. However, as a lab attendant or technician, it is very important for you to be familiar with every aspect of a laboratory where you are placed, so that you can contribute to its organization, management, and maintenance. This unit provides you with an overview of the biology labs of schools and colleges as well as its ancillaries like aquarium, vivarium and museum. Since no two labs are alike, we will also guide you on what all to look for in a biology lab. Expected learning outcomes. After studying this unit, you should be able to describe the typical features of a main biology labs of schools and colleges. List the essential rooms, units of the main biology lab. Describe the basic features of the main biology lab. List and describe the infrastructure and the facilities of the units associated with the main lab. List and describe the ancillaries of the main biology lab, namely aquarium, vivarium, museum and herbarium. Construct and maintain a basic aquarium and a vivarium. Innovatively display plant and animal specimens and biology charts in the lab and museum, and list and briefly describe other ancillaries of the main biology lab, namely botanical garden and school or garden grounds, and explain their importance as part of the biology lab. Study guide. Before you work through this unit, it is important to study units 2 and 3 of the CLT 101 course, which is the basis of this unit. It would be best to read this unit while sitting in a biology lab or visit a biology lab before studying this. 1.2 General features of a biology laboratory. If you had the experience of working in a biology lab of your school or college, can you recall its features? You may list them below. A biology lab in a school or college may consist of a few rooms. In schools, generally there is a main biology lab, a store, a preparation room and probably an office. In colleges there are separate labs for botany and zoology, along with their related preparation room, store and an office room. Since many new branches of biology have come up, there may also be separate labs for physiology, biochemistry, microbiology and tissue culture as well. In addition, colleges generally have a microtomy room, museum, herbarium and animal house. Some colleges may also have additional facilities such as cold room, dark room for photographic work, culture room, balance room and instrument room. There may also be a projector room. The list does not end here, because special rooms are made keeping in view the interest of the faculty, staff and the availability of space. Like houses, one laboratory is different from the other in size, design, and layout, and also in its facilities and organization. The lab space increases with the level of education and so also the number of rooms, units. Lab space in a college is decided
taking into account the variety and number of courses which will be on offer and the probable enrollment. Accordingly, the rooms of a laboratory are planned. In almost all the labs, the maximum space is allotted to the rooms where experiments are to be performed. You may recall from Unit 2, CLT 101 course that we opted to call this working room the main lab. There may be more than one main lab in a college. Biology experiments also require outdoor facilities such as garden plots, forest trails, greenhouse, aquarium, vivarium for housing amphibians and reptiles, and animal house. Some enthusiastic teachers also make provision for campsites, farm sites, vegetable garden and fruit garden. In some schools and colleges there may also be open ground laboratories for experimentation. In all probability you will not find all the elements in one school or college. Our experience shows that in India, most public schools and colleges have the minimum facilities, i.e. a main lab, a preparation room, a store and an office. And in some cases even these may not be well maintained and utilized. From the above account we hope that you have a fair idea of what constitutes general features of a biology lab. In the following sections we will discuss the main features of a biology lab, i.e. main lab, preparation room and store. We will also discuss about the main and additional ancillary structures associated with the biology lab units. 1.3 Components of a biology laboratory. In most schools and colleges a biology laboratory consists of a main lab, a preparation room, a store and an office. Let us study about them in some detail. 1.3.1 Main laboratory. As you enter into a main biology lab you see work tables and benches, neatly stacked staining solutions, chemicals, a variety of glassware, instruments and electrical appliances. In schools, since there may not be a separate museum, the museum specimens are generally placed in the almirah or shelves and racks fixed to the walls of the main lab. Before we list the essential items of a biology lab we should consider the design and organization of biology labs. Design and organization. A main biology lab is usually quite spacious and its size is comparable to a physics or chemistry lab. Approximately 15 to 20 students can be accommodated in an average-sized lab. Generally the main biology labs in schools and colleges are of fixed design, with 3 to 4 long benches, each accommodating 4 to 5 students in a row. The arrangement of benching may vary from lab to lab. The sinks are generally provided at the end of the benches, but are fewer in number as compared to the chemistry laboratory. The sink may be fitted with a large strainer to remove organic material. Benches are generally made of wood or metal and their surfaces are treated to resist corrosion by acid and alkali spills on them. In some labs the bench tops may be of granite or kota stone or tiles which are easy to clean and maintain. In a biology lab most of the experiments such as dissection of animal materials, plant and animal studies, preparation of herbarium sheets, preparations of slides and their microscopic examination are performed while sitting. Thus in a biology laboratory, you will find stools for sitting. A large table for the demonstration of experiments is also kept in the lab. The other essential items of furniture are open and closed shelves for keeping chemicals, a built-in cabinet for keeping microscopes, racks for dissecting trays and boards, slide cabinets and provision for under-bench storage. In a biology lab, both living plants and animals are studied extensively, so arrangement for optimal natural light is essential. Natural light is provided by installing large glass windows in the lab, Fig. 1.3. In addition to this, the biology lab is also provided with permanent supplementary artificial light, PSAL, on the walls or ceiling. Furthermore, a biology lab is also provided with movable lamps that are an additional source of light when one is working with a dissecting microscope, hand lens or observing slides under the microscope. Therefore, biology lab is provided with several electrical outlets often fixed on The work benches. What kind of odor is typical of a biology lab? In order to minimize the odor of plant and animal materials and preservatives that are typical of a biology lab, adequate arrangements for ventilation are made. You will find that biology labs, similar to all other types of labs, are equipped with gas, water, and electricity. Some labs are provided with LPG cylinders instead of piped gas, as use of gas is not so frequent at school or college level. Several outlets for electricity and water are available in the biology lab. A distillation or reverse osmosis apparatus for obtaining distilled or pure water may be present in the lab. Cleanliness is of paramount importance for biology work. A good lab design, high-quality construction, and appropriate use of materials on walls, floors, ceiling, benches, and other furniture help in maintaining a clean lab. Instruments. Instruments are an essential feature of any science lab. Among instruments, balances, pH meter, spectrophotometer, ovens, magnetic stirrers, and shakers. Chromatography apparatus are commonly found in chemistry and biology labs. The following instruments are specific for a biology lab: magnifying glasses, dissecting microscopes, light microscopes, dissecting kits and trays, microtomes, knife sharpeners such as hones, fine-grained whetstone for giving a sharp edge to the knives, strops, which are generally of leather and are used for polishing knives, and mechanical and electric blade sharpeners, dissection trays, dissection boards, wax dishes, hammers, bone cutters, autoclave, pressure cooker, safety cabinet for inoculation, recording drum, board, chamber, hemoglobinometer, hemocytometer, manometer, and potometer. Fig. 1.4 shows a hone and strop that may be present in a biology lab. Glassware. Common glassware such as test tubes, beakers, flasks, burettes, and pipettes. Measuring cylinders and desiccators are present in a biology lab. Other glassware present in the biology lab that are specially required for biology lab work include bell jars, specimen jars, trough, petri dishes, glass slides, cover slips, cavity blocks, watch glass, and cuvettes for spectrophotometer. 1.3.2 Preparation room. There may be a separate room adjacent to the main lab called the preparation room. The lab assistant or technician, under the guidance of the teacher, prepares solutions and staining reagents that are used by students in performing experimental work in the preparation room. The lab assistant or technician has to periodically prepare the solutions in order to replenish the solutions that are used up. 1.3.3 Storeroom. As you learnt in Unit 3 of the CLT 101 course, a small room called the store is essential for all biology labs. The store is used for storage of chemicals, glassware, and small equipments. The store replenishes the supply of chemicals, glassware, and small equipments required in the preparation room and laboratories. The store is provided with shelves or racks and large glass fronted door almirahs for various kinds of storage. A biology storeroom may also have built-in cabinets for storing microscopes and racks for keeping dissecting trays in case the lab is not provided with a preparation room. 1.3.4 Office. In some schools and colleges, a separate office for the lab staff may be associated with the main biology lab. Like any other office, records, stock registers, files, catalogs, acquisition register, and issue register are kept in the office of the biology lab. The records are updated periodically with regard to purchase and issue of various materials of the lab. The furniture in the office generally consists of a table, 3 to 4 chairs, and an almirah. Among the office equipment there may be a computer. In schools and some colleges, often a separate office room is not available, and so an area in the preparation room is designated as the office or work area. 1.4 Main ancillaries of a biology laboratory. The study of biology, as you may be aware, is not limited only to the lab. Since Biology is the study of living organisms, i.e., plants and animals. Therefore, all biological studies cannot be conducted in a closed laboratory. For this reason, some additional structures called ancillaries of a lab become a necessary part of the biology lab. In some schools and colleges, certain plants and animals are grown and nurtured in ancillary structures called greenhouses and animal houses, respectively. Greenhouse enables students to study plants that would not grow normally in that area. Both greenhouse and animal house enable students to conduct live studies under controlled conditions. Studies on live fishes, amphibians and reptiles are possible when fishes are housed in an aquarium and amphibians and reptiles are grown in a vivarium. Plant and animal museums are also ancillary structures associated with the biology laboratories. In some schools there might be a single museum, called a biology museum, that display both plant and animal models and specimens and their products. A biology museum would contain and display both plant and animal specimens. A college, however, would always have a separate plant museum, which would contain and display only plant models and specimens and their related products, and similarly would also have a separate animal museum for housing and displaying animal models and specimens and their related products. In the following sections we will study some of the main and additional ancillary structures which may be part of a school or college main biology lab. The main ancillary structures that we will study in section 1.4 include aquarium, vivarium, biology museum and herbarium. You will learn about herbarium in greater detail in Unit 6, 1.4.1 Aquarium. An increasing number of biology teachers collect and grow aquatic plants and animals from the local area for use in their classes. Some of these specimens must be kept alive for study. The most economical way to accomplish this is by the use of a large aquarium. An aquarium is a comfortable cage for fishes and other aquatic organisms. It consists of an enclosed body of water in which enough oxygen, light, correct temperature, right quantity of water, sufficient and correct type of food is provided. Fig. 1.5. An aquarium is generally made of glass but may be constructed from any other material which is waterproof, transparent, not easily corroded by water, and most important of all, not poisonous to fish. Generally, an aquarium for this purpose should have a capacity of 114 to 189 liter. The bottom and the sides of an aquarium are of glass and are sealed with waterproof cement. For draining of the used, dirty water, the aquarium could be equipped with a non-corrosive drain fitting provided with a tap. In some cases, the used, dirty water can be pumped off manually or by an electric pump. An aquarium is generally fitted with a fixed water supply pipe for filling fresh water into the aquarium. The water supply pipe is provided with a shut-off valve and pantry cork. A larger aquarium, for example a 200-liter size aquarium, can be converted into a dual aquarium by the use of a separating mesh screen. In a partitioned aquarium, one side can be used for keeping water plants such as Elodea and Vallisneria and the other side for fish, snails and other aquatic animals. In the aquarium, a small electric pump called aerator is used for providing proper air supply, aeration. The aerator forces air through a tube to the bottom of the aquarium, sending up a spray of small bubbles. Careful preparation and planting is necessary for maintaining the aquatic organisms required for study. For instance, before fishes are added, the tank should be prepared. Plants to be planted in the tank should be washed with coarse sand and water, and rinsed several times. The tank should be filled up to 2/3 with chlorine-free water and allowed to stand for a day to mature. After this, first, the plants are put inside the aquarium and then the aquatic organisms like fishes are added. It is essential to maintain the conditions of the aquarium on a daily basis. This involves feeding the fishes, maintaining the water and pH level, removing dead Plants or animals, removing overgrown plants and excess snails. 1.4.2 Vivarium. A vivarium is any container that consists of a pool of water with a surrounding beach that forms a comfortable environment for housing most kinds of amphibians and some reptiles. The purpose of keeping a vivarium in school, college is to study ecology, i.e. interrelationship between flora and fauna. Suitable vivarium can be constructed from an old aquarium or large glass jar. A natural habitat is prepared by planting a beach around the pool using layers of moss. Fresh food, obtained from recently slaughtered animals' food is best for amphibians, e.g. fresh liver dangled in front of them on a string. Dead animals and uneaten food should be removed within an hour in order to avoid fouling the tank. 1.4.3 Museum. A biology museum is one of the most interesting and informative component of a biology lab. Biological museums have a mission similar to that of libraries. But instead of preserving books, biological collections preserve individual organisms. Museum display. A biology museum has a display of preserved and mounted, representative specimens of plants and animals, collected by the students themselves and the laboratory staff from local and distant areas. The collection is supplemented by other specimens that are procured from supply companies, by the faculty members. The biological collections grow continuously through the activities of faculty members, students, and the museum in charge. A variety of preserved and well-labeled museum specimens of plants and animals are displayed in the biology lab, which is fascinating to watch. Plant specimens. Plant specimens, e.g. miniature lichens, are displayed on the trunk of small trees. Plants of economic importance are often included. Common cash crops, medicinal plants and diseased plants are also displayed in the museum. Cereals that form the staple diet may be displayed in the museum, both as immediately harvested crops, in which case the grains are enclosed in husks. Dehusked grains are also displayed, preserved and properly labeled. Variety of fruits, seeds, inflorescence, modified parts of plants are also kept in the museum. There may also be samples of economically important plant products like edible mushrooms, spices, oil seeds, and various kinds of woods. Animal specimens. A large number of animal specimens are placed in the museum in covered glass jars, containing the preservative formalin. Specimens of lower animals, fishes and some reptiles, especially snakes, turtles and terrapins, are displayed in formalin jars. The display of animal specimens in glass jars can be improved if the specimens are mounted on a glass plate and placed within standard specimen bottles, jars containing the preservative formalin and closed with black-colored lids. The details of the specimens are required to be pasted on the specimen bottles. Insects which are collected by students, teachers and laboratory technicians are, however, mounted and displayed in insect boxes. Naphthalene balls are put in insect boxes in order to save the insects from ants or any type of infestations. Most biology museums would also display stuffed specimens of common birds such as owls, parrots and pigeons. Stuffed specimens of mammals, generally displayed in a biology lab, are rabbits, hedgehogs, squirrels and bats. Sometimes a museum may also have a stuffed specimen of Gavialis that belongs to the crocodilian group. Fig. 1.8 shows the display of stuffed animal specimens, namely birds, in a museum. Animal bones. A full-size human skeleton of bones or plastic is generally an important component of the museum. Skeletons of some animals are also kept in the lab. Skulls of various animals and articulated bones that show the entire skeleton of the organism are also displayed in the museum. The disarticulated, separated bones include skulls, vertebral columns, girdles and limbs of animals. These are commonly kept in labeled wooden cases or boxes that are placed on racks along the sides of the walls. Models of plants and animals. Sketches, pictures, photographs or models of small or microscopic organisms are also kept in the museum and add to the effectiveness of the display. You will also find some rare reptiles, birds and mammals as plastic models. Models of heart, brain, lungs, digestive and reproductive organs are generally seen in a biology lab. Plant models of anatomy of stem, leaf and root are also displayed and kept in the lab. Biology posters. Posters showing the development of life on Earth and charts showing the relationships between various groups and with humans provide an interesting supplement in museum display. The wall space above the green tack board can be used to display these posters and charts. The activities in terms of chart preparations by students on various lab-related biological activities are also displayed in the labs. Shows a few displays in a biology lab of a school. It is very important for the lab technician to take care of specimens and maintain them in a proper condition. A laboratory technician should try to make the display in a biology lab as interesting as possible. 1.5 Other ancillaries of a biology laboratory. Plants and animals are often required to be observed and studied in their natural habitat. Field trips and excursions play an essential role in the biological studies. A botanical garden and a school, college ground is an additional ancillary structure of the lab that allows the students to observe herbs, shrubs, trees and small organisms like butterflies and spiders in natural conditions. It also enables them to study their interactions with each other and the environment. The additional ancillary structures, which we will study in this section are Botanical Garden and School, College Garden. 1.5.1 Botanical Garden. A well-maintained garden where plants are classified and grown with care and where plants may even be multiplied for the purposes of observation and research is called a botanical garden. A garden full of plants, both flowering and non-flowering, is indeed a treat to see. But a botanical garden is not for entertainment alone, it is associated with teaching botany and research. A school, college should have an adequate botanical garden for its teaching needs. The plants grown in it are mostly the ones which form the study material for botany. A patch of ground within the school premises which receives ample sunlight is the ideal place where a botanical garden may be developed. A lab technician has to interact with gardener looking after the botanical garden and has also to ensure that new plants are added from time to time. Plants are labeled with labels carrying the botanical names as well as common names. A catalogue of the plants in the botanical garden is prepared with the help of botany teachers. In the catalogue, the plants are assigned a number and their concise description is given. In most countries including ours, some botanical gardens are open to the public and can be used as a supplement to the school, college botanical garden for taxonomic studies, ecological studies and study of plant diversity. As such, gardens are extensive in size and house an enormous number of various types of herbs, shrubs and trees. In our country, the main national botanical gardens are in Lucknow and Kolkata. The one in Lucknow is called the Botanic Garden, Fig. 1.10 and is a part of the National Botanical Research Institute, NBRI. The Botanic Garden was established by Nawab Saadat Ali Khan, 1784 to 1814, as a royal garden and has historical botanical records dating back to 1800. The Botanic Garden has plants from Uttar Pradesh including the hilly regions of Garhwal. The garden has an extensive collection of bougainvillea, canna, chrysanthemum, gladiolus and rose hybrid species or cultivars. The Botanical Garden in Kolkata is called the Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose Indian Botanic Garden and is situated in Shipar, Howrah near Kolkata. It has a banyan tree that is more than 100 years old. 1.5.2 School, College Ground. A school or college ground itself can become a place for studying biology. Trees that are representative of those found locally should be properly maintained. Shrubs should be selected and planted in such a manner so that birds are encouraged to visit. Bird houses, bird baths and winter feeding stations should also be provided in school, college grounds. If the grounds are large enough, a nature trail may be laid out. 1.6 Summary. In this unit you have learned the following. Biology labs in most schools consist of a main lab, a preparation room, a store, an office and also additional facilities called ancillary structures such as a biology museum and herbarium. In colleges there may be more than one main lab and also ancillary structures such as aquarium, vivarium, plant and animal museums. Botanical garden and school, college ground are also used as part of a biology lab and are known as additional ancillary structures. The main lab is designed keeping in view the specific requirements of biology work. It contains glassware and instruments, plant and animal specimens, skeletons, bones, charts, models and other display may be kept in the main lab or in a biology museum or in separate plant and animal museums respectively. An aquarium is a cage for fishes and other small aquatic organisms where they have sufficient oxygen, light, correct temperature, enough water and food. A vivarium is a container that is prepared to house amphibians and some reptiles which are required for biological studies. Daily maintenance of an aquarium and a vivarium is very important. A biology museum displays plants and animal models and specimens and their products. It may also contain human skeletons of animals, mounted insects, stuffed animals, and models of plants, smaller organisms, animal organs etc., which make the display more effective. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video, with next chapter.